Today I'm going to be making a Giyu build from Demon Slayer. But before we move on, there will be spoilers for the anime and manga, so watch out for that. Anyway, moving on, we are on to the character customization. Now I do see that he does look a bit feminine, but we'll just have to deal with that. And for my starting class, I chose Samurai because I do need an extra Uchigatana. So starting off, Giyu's blade is blue. Therefore I needed the Scholar's Armament and a Demi-Human Queen Staff to apply blue magic to my weapons. And as you can see, I had to kill the Pumpkin Head in order to gain access to Selen the Sorceress, and then I had to head down to the Weeping Peninsula to defeat the Demi-Human Queen in order to gain her staff. But now that that was sorted, it was time to get myself some clothes. And for the bottom half, I wanted the Knights Cavalry Greaves, which meant I was headed over to the consecrated snowfields in order to defeat the Duo Knights Cavalry boss and claim the set. So now we had the bottom half of Giyu's Demon Slayer uniform, and it was time to get his Haori. Therefore for this, the closest colors I could find were the Tree and Beast Surcoat, which I quickly headed down to the Gatefront ruins in order to farm. And within 4 kills of these soldiers, they had already dropped the armor I needed. Next up, it was time to start getting Giyu's water forms, starting off with the first form, Water Surface Slash. And for this, I had chosen Moonveil's Ash of War, which meant I was heading into the Gale Tunnel to defeat the Magma Worm pretty easily and collect the katana. Then I gave it a quick test on these unsuspecting wolves, and we were looking quite powerful. So with that, we were on to the second form, Water Wheel. And for this, I had decided on Lion's Claw, which was actually nearby and found in Fort Gale. And after defeating this lion with my first form, I had obtained the Ash of War. So after testing it out on some enemies with my blue katana, I was learning just how useful this form would be for the build. Next up, it was time to move on to the third form, Flowing Dance. And for this one, I had picked out the Sword of Night, which meant I had a long journey ahead of me, starting off with getting into the DLC. So I'll have to shorten it down for you guys. This sword is obtained through Jolan's quest, who is found in the Cathedral of Manus Metir. So I had to kill Rennala to gain access to the part of the map the cathedral was in, talk with Count Ymir, talk with Jolan, ring the bell in Finger Ruins of Rhea, obtain a second map from Ymir, ring the bell in the Finger Ruins of Deo, talk with Ymir and Jolan one more time, then kill the Mother of Fingers, which took a very long time due to this broken visual, return to the cathedral and defeat Jolan and Ymir, then head over to the Fort of Reprimand and defeat a Lesser Omen Killer in order to obtain the Iris of Occultation. And after doing all of that, I could now hand over the Iris of Occultation to Jolan and receive the Sword of Night. So with all of that out the way, it was time to move on to the fourth form, Striking Tide. And for this, I had chosen the Starline Sword. So I headed down into the Cerulean Coast and killed this demi-human, and so the fourth form was complete, which meant I was headed over to get myself a new Uchigatana for Giyu's sixth form, Whirlpool. And before I left to get the Ash of War I wanted for this, I did take the opportunity to test out my fourth form on the skeletons. But now that that was done, I was getting the Stormcooler Ash of War from the Teardrop Scarab found all the way over in Stormvale Castle. So now I was on to the seventh form, Drop Ripple Thrust. And for this, I needed the Piercing Fang Ash of War on a Nagakiba, which was perfect because you can obtain that through Yura's quest. And so that's what I went to do. But when I turned up at the starting point for his quest, he was already dead and the Nagakiba was dropped there with the Ash of War on it. And now I'm not sure what caused this, but I wasn't complaining because the seventh form was already complete. And now I was on to the 10th form, Constant Flux. So for this, I decided the perfect skill would be Hand of Millennia's Waterfowl Dance, which meant I was taking a long trip through the Haligtree. And for this, I had to fight my way down there for a while and do some traveling until I finally got to the boss room, in which it took me very long to beat the boss, but we finally got there. And so I cashed in her remembrance for the weapon, and our 10th form was looking very powerful. So now with my build complete, it was time to move into New Game Plus. So you guys may be asking, why don't I have Dead Calm? And the simple answer to that is I couldn't come up with anything. However, since I started this new recording for the boss fights, I have been able to come up with what Dead Calm would be. And so after that fight, I will be going to get the 11th form. But for now, I'm only using my first form against this guy, Water Surface Slash, and he's already dead. I wasn't actually paying attention to the damage numbers there, so this build could be bad. I'm not sure yet. But what I do know is that we're off to get ourselves the 11th form. I've also realized I couldn't get this form before because Yura was dead. However, now in the new game, he should be over here. Oh, there he is. Just got to do a bit of talking here and then head over this way, and Yura should help me with this combat. Okay, there it is, the invasion. You know what, Yura might not be able to help me yet. So I'm going to start off by defending myself. And I don't think this guy is going to see a 7th form coming, is he? Go, 7th form. That's a lot of damage. I think this build might be good. Although I need to hold off before I kill this guy, because I think I need Yura to help me in order to progress the quest. So let's go, Drop Ripple Thrust. That's so much damage. When he tries to flask, we do another 7th form. And that should be a wrap. Yura didn't even need to hit the guy, but that is his quest progressed. And so now I have to go to Raya Lucaria. It actually feels crazy to be here without killing Godric first, but there should be some sort of mark on the floor here, and I found it. Once I beat this fight, I should have the Raptor of the Mist incantation. And to help Yura, I'm going to use my second form. Water Wheel, go! Can I knock him down? If I just keep this guy knocked down on the ground, then Yura can pin him. Wait. Well, never mind. I killed him in 2 hits. Okay, now we have the Ash of War. However, I don't have any extra katanas to put the Ash of War on, so I have to start swapping them out. And since I've already used 7th form, I have swapped that one out for this fight. So now, I can apply a bit of magic here. 2-hand this. Dead Calm, go! Oh, there we go. We got the counters off. We got 700 damage with that. And now we use Dead Calm again. I didn't use the timing right, but at least I could dodge. Let's keep trying this. Dead Calm. Okay, I have to time this perfectly. Now. And we got him. Another 700 damage. Oh, can we Dead Calm this? 11th form. Perfect timing. Although I wasn't in a close enough range to use it, but we're going again. 11th form. This time I used a heavy attack. I'm trying it again. Oh, we're just so overpowered with this 11th form. I am very glad that I came up with this idea. All right, but now we need to let some of our other skills shine. So we get our blue katana going, and then we use Whirlpool after he attacks here. Whirlpool, go! How much damage can we get with this? This is insane. 2,800. And we didn't really take that much damage. But he is dead. That seems like it would be one of our most damaging moves against the weaker opponents. However, we've got 3 more forms that I've been neglecting so far. And so it's time to try those out. Starting with the 3rd form, Flowing Dance, go! How much damage can we get off with this? I think there is more to that attack. I just needed to continue it. So we'll go again. Flowing Dance. And I'll just start spamming it. Okay, no, that was the full thing. And I did take a lot of damage doing that, but it was worth. Now what should I use next? Oh, hold on. He's getting mad. I'll just run away for a second first. And then we jump back in. I failed to dodge in the right timing. Nah, not getting me with this one. Okay, he did. I guess I'm a little rusty. Even though these are normally easy for me to deal with, I guess it's been too long. But after this move, I'll be using Striking Tide. Go! We're using the whole thing here. I don't care if I get hit. Go into the air. 3,800 damage. I think that is because we had a hemorrhage build up, but we're into the 2nd phase. And with that, we only have 1 more form to try before we've tested them all out. And I've saved it for last because I think it's going to be our most powerful. And that is our 10th form. Constant Flux, go! I'm still going, the damage is insane. However, we haven't killed him yet. So I guess with that in mind, let's go back to some of our more tame forms. Let me just walk up real close. Now we'll go 2nd form, Water Wheel. I am so glad that I killed him with that hit, because if I hadn't, he would have eaten me up with that dragon. But now I think it's time to work on our Wondrous Physic. And for this, we're starting off with the Magic Shrouded Crack tier in order to boost my water breathing moves. And for that, I just need to kill this fella over here. So we'll start off with applying the blue katana, and we just start going ham. Oh, I dodged too early. Never mind. Now we go 2nd form, Water Wheel. I think if I hit enough of these, then I should just knock this guy over and break his stance. However, I'm not proving too well at dodging his abilities, but that is my own fault. Luckily, I can just stat check this guy. And now we go again, Water Wheel. Do I knock him down? No, I don't, but we definitely kill him in a couple more hits. There we go. And just like that, we have the first half of our Wondrous Physic. And for the second half, I went to go and get the Opaline Hard tier. However, I forgot to unpause my recording when I was fighting him, and so you'll just have to trust that I got it. Alright, so now we are onto the Red Wolf of Radagon's boss fight. And I forgot to swap out any of my forms, so I'm still using the same setup. However, I am very much feeling like using a 4th form here. So after he comes down from this, we go Striking Tide. Here's a bunch of damage here. Can we get a hemorrhage build up off? We didn't, but we just managed to pile on a lot of damage, which is insane. And since we've been neglecting it, we'll also use the 3rd form here. So after he leaps forward at me and these sorceries have gone, there we go. 3rd form, go! And he has been taken out. So far, this has felt pretty easy. But now I have to prepare for Rennala's fight. And in preparation, I have swapped out the 4th form for my 6th form because the Starline Sword does magic damage. And for the fun of it, I swapped out my 11th form for my 7th form. But here is where it's going to come in handy. Because how are you going to parry something that moves so fast like this? Okay, and he did parry me. No idea how he's managed to pull that off. Alright, but what if I try it again? How about I swap to the 3rd form because how are you going to parry that? And then when he gets rid of his shield, we use a 7th form. So he got rid of his shield, therefore I'm going to use 7th form on him. Drop Ripple Thrust, and again, while he's trying to potion up. What are you going to do? My reach is insane, Moongrum. See, that move is powerful, just when you're not parrying it. And I have 4 flasks ready for Rennala's fight. Okay, so first up, I need to get through this phase, which shouldn't be too bad. And while I'm doing this, I need to figure out if putting the Scholar's Armament on me will nerf my damage, or if it will just make me gain a slight bit of damage rather than the usual amount. And my guess is that it will just add a small bit of damage instead of nerfing me. So I'm keeping that in mind, ready for the second phase. And hopefully I get a hemorrhage build up here. And there it is, we're into the second phase. And now we're in. It's time to test the theory by putting Scholar's Armament on this. Oh, I'm actually running out of FP, hold on. Let me change that back over. Probably not a smart use of my FP to use the last bits of that on giving myself Scholar's Armament against a Rennala fight. But anyway, we're doing second form, Water Wheel. I think with this, I can just spam these out every time she gets up, and that will just be the fight over. Even if she does attack me through my moves, she seems to just not stop me. And so, yeah, we minced her up. This build seems to have counters for every single boss we've gone against so far. And I hope that dragon's disappeared, because I do not want to die now that the fight's over. And so now we're off to the capital. Okay, for this fight, I don't think I'm going to be able to use any long wind-up moves. And that would be my 3rd, 4th, and 6th form. Everything else, I think, will be fine. So that means I got my 1st form in my left hand here, 2nd form in my right hand. We got Dead Calm here, the 11th form, and 7th form, as well as our extremely overpowered Constant Flux. Let's see how we go. There we go. Oh, okay, he missed. 11th form, this guy. Perfect timing. Oh, it's got extra hits on it. So I'm finding out I was way too eager to attack this guy because I need to remember he has combos. So really, I should be dodging until the end of his combos. Okay, this is a combo. When's he gonna do his long ones? He's not. This guy's just baiting me. When's he gonna do like a full chain move? Oh, and that was my fault then. Okay, stomp into a hit. Comes back around. No, it didn't. All right, well, I've completely forgotten this guy's combos, and it looks like I won't find a great opportunity to use Dead Calm. However, I did manage to use it then. Okay, so I wasn't getting much luck with that, and most of my damage was just from light attacking this guy. So we're going with the 7th form next. Therefore, after whatever attacks he throws at me, we'll hit him with a nasty one. There we go, 7th form. That's big damage. And then very soon, I should be able to end the fight after he stops stomping on my face. There we go, 7th form again. And he's gone 1,200 damage. That is insane. I need to start using this form more often. And I think my best chance at this next fight is to keep the same setup that I just ran. Therefore, we're not stopping and we're headed straight onto Morgott. All right, time for the necessary buffs. Please don't hit me. And hopefully if he calms down, I should be able to get my flask off. All right, we managed to do it. And so now we're in for business. I just need the right opportunity where I can use 7th form. That was something. I managed to hit him, but I did take a hit in turn for it. But it might be worth it, because we are getting 1,200 damage off with each hit. And here's our next chance. Why has he just done that? This sneaky guy. However, we managed to get a good bit of damage off there. We might make it into the second phase pretty fast. And I think it's time to change up forms. So I am going to accidentally flask up. That's my bad. But now we're applying the buffs and we're on to our 2nd form. Okay, please calm down, Morgott. Now we go 2nd form. Can this be a stance break? Okay, well, it technically wasn't a stance break, but we did knock him down. But that was due to him being in his 2nd phase. So now I'm charging back in. Can I get a couple of petty hits off? I think we are just going to have to show this guy we mean business. Even if that means taking a couple hits. Because I think in the damage trade, we come out at a win. All right, I can dodge this. I know how this works. 2nd form again. Poise break. Okay, now we go for a 2nd form once more because the first one didn't land. I'm dodging too early, but it's fine. We'll just trade hits and kill him. For some reason, it feels like this build is so much better at brute forcing bosses than most of the other ones I've played with. But now we are moving on. And with that, I was onto the Fire Giant and Godskin duo fights, which were quite boring and annoying, but eventually I beat them. And I had made my way over to the Maliketh fight. Maybe if I just stay behind him, I can get some hits off. I'm just not really finding myself able to actually use any of my forms here. 11th form, please. That was one, but every time I use it, I take a hit. You know what? Let's just get him down to Maliketh. Let's get this over and done with. Who needs forms when you can just do good old-fashioned hitting? And I have swapped Katana here for something that might just be a bit more damaging. Like here, 7th form. And it was that much of a difference that it immediately put us into the Maliketh fight. I am quite fond of this form. However, not when he runs away from me. Now 7th form. Go! That was some good damage. Now we'll swap back to the 2nd form. Any moment now, I'll have a chance. Like right now. There it is, 900 damage. And now we go straight back in because he managed to miss me from hitting the pillar. Alright, so I ran out of FP from many third attempts of using the moves. I'm going to swap to Hand of Millennia just for the fun of it. And I've only just applied my Wondrous Physic in this fight. But I believe in us here. How much damage are we getting with just normal hits? 300. That's not really all that great. You know, let's go for the Nagakiba. After he comes slamming down with this, I think that's where we'll find the most damage. Our other hits were doing 318. This one's doing 330. And I might actually be able to finish the fight here. And he's actually running away from me as well. That's kind of mad. Maliketh, running from an old Tarnished. That's embarrassing. The last hit. No way I missed. But we clutched up with a dodge and he's gone. Somehow I've managed to finish this fight a lot healthier than most of the other boss fights. So now we're on to Gideon and I have brought all of my longer forms along with me for this fight. So we've got our trusty old 2nd form, our 3rd form here. In my left hand, there it is. Then the 4th form with Onze's Line of Stars. Then the 6th form with our Stormcaller. And the 10th form with our Waterfowl Dance. I don't think Gideon's going to be ready for this. And I've chosen my starting attack. So while he's about to start talking to me, we flask up. And we get ready to pile on insane amounts of magic damage. Let's go, 4th form. Slash this guy up. We probably will get a hemorrhage build up on him. And we did. Honestly, I might be able to get this guy before he flasks. And I did. That was very short-lived. I brought all of these forms for no reason. All I needed was the 4th form and a couple of attacks. I guess that's how it goes. So we're moving on to the next fight. And since I didn't get to try any of the other forms out in that last fight, I've only swapped out the 4th form. So I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I will attempt to use the other forms against Godfrey, which will definitely be difficult. So we'll just flask up, hope this doesn't hit me, and then we'll just try it. 3rd form. You know what? I managed to get 1,000 damage off before getting hit, but I don't think it was that worth it for being completely thrown off of my game here and taking a bunch of damage. However, we got the 3rd form off, so I guess now it's time for the 6th. I'm not sure how this is going to go, but let's just try it. We won't do the continued version of it. However, I still got hit anyway, even though I didn't try to do the continued version. Oh, somehow I managed to dodge that. I don't even know how. And I think I'll have to do a couple of light hits for the rest of this fight, up until maybe the 2nd phase. We're at 5 flasks. I think we have a good chance here. Okay, that's all right. We managed to dodge the combo. And I greeted for 2 hits instead of 1. Come on. Horaloo, please. Put me in the Horaloo phase. Please. I'm panicking now. Okay, okay. And then we jump this. And then we run over here. I'll use the time to flask up. And I think I can use a 6th form here after this attack. All right, 6th form, go. Get him down to Horaloo. All right, well, this is why I don't use long cooldown moves, because look what's happened to me now. I look like a disgrace, and I've only got 3 flasks going into Horaloo's fight. Okay, so he's picking up right where we left off. I need a moment where I can add my blue katana to the blade. Okay, I managed to do it. Let's go 2nd form. I managed to get 1,500 damage off of that. And now we run. I need him to try and do something bold. I need him to try and use a big attack. And then we run the 2nd form once more. I missed. There's no way I missed. But we dodged this. This is our chance. Now we get the 2nd form. And that's another 1,500 damage. Run, 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 run. We're rolling up on the end of the fight. I just need a couple more hits to go. And then he should be dead. We've lost the blue katana. But I don't really feel like I have enough time to reapply it. So we just got to dodge this, and that should be the fight over. Okay, we are done. Thank God for that. We're on to the final fight. And I'm seeing where this build is starting to fall off. Because I can safely say that Yorichi was a whole lot more powerful at this point. However, going into this next fight, I'm going to do something daring. We're going to go for the 10th form straight away. Right after he does a move. And we get a moment of peace. Okay, this should be it. 10th form, go. Constant flux. How much damage can we get here? Somehow we're dodging these. I have no idea why. We got 2,400 damage though. How about a 3rd form after this move? Please. Don't get hit. Don't get hit. Okay. It didn't feel like I was that on that long of a cooldown. 3rd form seems decently solid. Somehow we've managed to get this guy down to half HP without using any basic katanas. Maybe the 3rd form isn't as bad as I thought it was before. You know what? I might try and stick with just this form up until the Elden Beast fight. So since I said that, things have not taken a very good turn. Therefore, I'm swapping back to the 2nd form. We'll apply the blue katana. Oh, okay, that was a close call. I think it's time to use everything I have, which is my Wondrous Physic, my FP back up, my health back up. I've managed to somehow lose 6 flasks, now 7 flasks, but it's time to put the 2nd form on him. After he does this follow-up attack, now we go, 900 damage coming in clutch, and then we dodge this. Great. Go back in for some light hits. We're in flow state right now. We're cooking. And then after this, we go again for another 2nd form. 800 damage. So I'm now realizing that the Scholar's Armament has only really added 20 damage to each attack, which I would say isn't all that great. After this combo attack, we go back in. Can I get him down to the Elden Beast, please? He's 1 hit away. There we go. He left himself open. So I'm deciding against using the Scholar's Armament, and we're going straight in with a 7th form, because I quite like this one. And we're going to go for it again. 7th form. 1,000 damage each time, that is. Alright, let's see how good we can do with these light attacks, because I only have half a bar of FP left, which means I need to conserve some FP for the end of this fight, because I do want to kill him with a form. I will use one last 7th form before I finish the fight, just because I quite like it. So let's do it one more time. There we go. That's our 1,000 damage coming through. Oh, that was a close dodge. That was very close. And I think I will have to finish this fight using the Nagakiba, because it seems to be my most damaging weapon out of all of them, which I'm kind of surprised with, because I don't think this has as good dexterity scaling as the rest of them. Let's see how much a heavy attack does. 700. And sadly, the heavy attack isn't as graceful as the light attacks. I'm not sure why. It would be cool if we could do a samurai slash with that, which would be a bit more Demon Slayer-esque instead of just thrusting the tip of the blade into his side. But I guess it doesn't matter, because it's looking like we are getting him quite low. An easy 1,300 damage there. Another 455 in between his combo. And I managed to somehow miss one of my light attacks then. And I think at this point, I should be able to finish the fight using my forms. So I must choose what I want to go for. The 2nd form has been very trusty. The 7th has been pretty good. The 10th looks cool. The 3rd was also pretty cool as well. And I've neglected the 6th form, but I don't really want that to be how I end this fight. Really, I kind of wish that I could finish this with the 4th form. But I guess we'll go 3rd, because it does look the coolest. And there we go. 1,300 damage in half a second to finish off the final boss. Alright, there we go in all its glory. But for some reason I thought it lasted longer than most of the other moves. But anyway, onto the build. So here are our stats. I have so much mind and endurance because I needed quite a lot of endurance in order to wield this many katanas. And I wanted a lot of mind to use FP and utilize my water breathing skills. As for the rest of the stats, I feel like I probably should have gone more for a dex strength build instead of a dex intelligence build. But moving on to the rest of it. We have our 1st form as Moonveil. Our 2nd form is Lion's Claw on a Kinuchi Katana. Our 3rd form is the Sword of Night. 4th form Starline Sword. 6th form Stormcaller on a Kinuchi Katana. Our Demi-Human Queen Staff to apply the Blue Blade. 7th form is Piercing Fang on a Keen Nagakiba. 10th form is Hand of Millennia. And 11th form as Raptor of the Mist on a Kinuchi Katana. As for the clothes, we got Tree and Beast Surcoat to look like his Haori, and Knight's Cavalry Greaves to look like the bottom half of the Demon Slayer core uniform. For the talismans, we got Two-Handed Sword Talisman, Shard of Alexander, Winged Sword Insignia, and Great Jar's Arsenal. I'm sure there was a better way to do this, but I really needed the Great Jar's Arsenal in order to be able to wield this many katanas. And in the Wondrous Physic, we have the Magic Shroud in Crack tier and Opaline Hard tier. But that is it for the Giyu build. I would say this one is quite weak compared to the others. I'm not sure why that is. It was probably a choice of talismans or misplaced stats on my end. But there we have it. We have finished the Giyu build and became Elden Lord. So yeah, thank you for watching and see ya.